Hello friends, decided to do something a little bit different with this video, and that's have some narration in it, which I've always kind of been against, but I'd like to tell a little bit of a story with this video and give some kind of personal insights into several of the problems and what they involved. So as you can see from the onset of the video, kind of a dark start to the video. Start of 2020, I had a little bit of a substance abuse meltdown, and then had a bouldering fall where I completely ruptured my ACL, partially ruptured my MCL, and tore my meniscus. And then COVID hit. I was on crutches. I managed to get sober and get myself into the woods. And I just hung out there working. I was really quite productive. Still did hangboard to maintain some strength. Rehabbed a few different kind of minor injuries I had, and emerged out of that period relatively healthy, but I hadn't climbed in several months. And then, so that was kind of late spring 2020 when climbing was allowed again, that I recommenced my journey to getting fit again and healthy. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. 3 kilos.
Fueled by a conscience, afraid to get killed. I'm out in the mountain, laughing at the lion, alone on a hill. I'm just cold.
So the start of this kind of journey starts in the summer of 2020, where I was fortunate enough to meet Olivier, and he showed me a number of bouldering areas in the Larzac Plateau, and particularly this cave, Attila Cave, which has a number of different problems. And there I adopted my first kind of real project since the meltdown and since the knee injury, and that was this kind of traverse across the roof that exited out a 7B plus or V8 at the very end that I'm shown rehearsing here. And it took me 37 days to do this problem. And it was a very interesting process where I got to the point where I was absolutely embraced in the process and completely detached from the outcome. So it was just go back, go back, go back. And I just kept falling at this move near the end where you're kind of in a toe hook and a heel hook, and you have to very precisely get your left hand into a 2-finger pocket. And I was falling there for several months, and here we go on day 37. The next part of the journey, I went and to an area in Spain called Alcany, There I met Mario and Pita, who over the course of the winter became very good friends, and they've opened up a climbing campground there named Menju's Place, named after their dog Menju. And ended up spending, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months actually in Alkany, because the pandemic was kind of raging again. A lot of people were remote working, and there got kind of invested and interested in a new roof project. Again, kind of a long power endurance roof with the crux for linking being at the end. So spent a bunch of time trying this roof problem in Salon d'Ete, hanging out with Mario and Pita and another friend I made, Heiki, and had really an amazing few months there in Spain.
Everybody's got a story to tell. I'm no different. Or can't you tell? I'm sad with rocks in my pocket, waiting for a moment I could throw 'em like a rocket. Well, I threw down upon that orange dance. I felt poison in my chest. If you look bad, you might cry.
Come on. Come on, come on!
So that puffy hand there, that was actually from a viper bite. It's a bite by a venomous snake in France. And the next part of this journey is I went to do field work in California, to work with the plant and the insect communities there, and I felt very fortunate to be able to go do that because with COVID and the pandemic, it wasn't clear if I'd be able to go, so I was happy about that. And there I ended up climbing Black Mountain, which is kind of a high elevation area in Southern California that I've climbed at literally for over 20 years. And there I adopted a project that I'd always wanted to do but never felt really kind of conceivable, and that's called Dare Capitan. And here this part of the year kind of represented really a shift where I'd been doing these more kind of power endurance long roof problems, to adopting a project that was more kind of powerful. And so Dare Cap is essentially kind of a fairly short 5 or 6 move powerful V8 boulder problem into a very difficult kind of crux move, which actually really had trouble sticking. And then it doesn't let up, and there's still kind of a jump move after, and a big lock off, and kind of a tenuous mantle. So, and a really amazing problem that'll be shown here in a little bit. And that was my main project during this period where I was in California doing the field work.
Oh, and aren't we all just waiting for some familiar whore coming? Keep us warm, but flesh ain't a home. And when you're alone, ain't no poison on earth will ever fill the hole.
So here there'll be some clips of me trying Der Capitan. And just a little detail is that it's hot when I'm there in the spring already. So I was getting up at 4:30 to be at the problem between 5 and 5:30. Have a couple hours on the problem. After which point I would do hangboard and then go collect insects all day.
Yeah.
C'est prêt?
C'est OP.
Voilà, je vais laisser en français parce que c'est plus ou moins pour Olivier. Mais c'est la fin de la saison. Il fait trop chaud, beaucoup trop chaud.
Oui, trop chaud.
Et j'ai pas réussi avec mon projet. Et comme ça, je dois revenir l'année prochaine plus fort. Et le plan maintenant est de mesurer toutes les prises, toutes les distances entre les prises. Et après, comme ça, j'espère que je peux construire, créer plus ou moins le même passage chez Olivier sur son pain. Et comme ça, on peut s'entraîner tout l'hiver, revenir beaucoup plus fort que maintenant et venga, enchaîner tous les moves sans problème. Hein.
C'est ça. Une petite vision du problème.
Comme ça, je vais commencer de mesurer. J'ai acheté les petits trucs, je ne sais pas comment ça s'appelle en français.
Décimètre, il me semble.
C'est quoi?
Décimètre.
Décimètre.
Oui.
Oh, c'est un peu logique en fait.
Oui.
Voilà, boubou, toutes les distances. Bientôt, Olivier, je vais revenir avec toutes les informations et on peut faire le meilleur passage de Black Mountain chez toi. Hein?
Ouais, je viendrai l'essayer, si même si. À plus.
Better men have died for less. Rats get fat no matter where you've been. Hearts sanding songs of catacomb where sirens speak the tongue of broken men. They say your body is a credit card. Sell your ass, they're sure to get you well. And if they offer tainted parts, just bleach the ends at a crack upon your belt. And it wasn't all too long ago, crying out in a hospital car, with a bandage torn off from the chest and an oath to stick the landing coming down. Oh, the boarding house was an easy out, but it don't help when the noise begins to tower. And every second is a minute, and every minute is another endless hour. And swing low, sweet northern winter, guide my weary bones. Don't let 'em bury me in San Antonio. Don't you bury me in San Antonio. Now pacing in the park, gifted clothes hang tattered, torn and loose. And how deeply green the grass must be as it calls beyond the window of a noose. And now cowardice is baring teeth, bit of shakes in wait for the sight.
After leaving Southern California, the fieldwork was mostly done, and then I went to the Lake Tahoe area, kind of in more north and east in California on the Nevada border. And there I had a project that I had tried before that I wanted to get back to, and that's Wolfpack at Burnside Lake. So I had tried it before I moved to France when I was kind of between jobs a few years ago. I was climbing reasonably well at that point in time, and I did well on it. I went back to it a year and a half later, and was in much worse shape and had been working more and drinking a bit and just basically didn't do as well on it. Felt worse. And then my appendix burst, so I ended up hospitalized and having the operation. So that kind of ended the opportunity to try Wolfpack. So I went back up to the Lake Tahoe area, climbed in a few other areas as you'll see here, but essentially went to try Wolfpack and did really quite well on it. Thought I was going to do it, and then a massive forest fire came through and kind of chased me out of Lake Tahoe.
So sick. Strong, dude. Dude, that's a fucking sick problem. That's sick.
So after getting chased out of Tahoe by a forest fire, and they closed Burnside Lake where Wolfpack was, I went up to British Columbia and spent a month or two there, which was really amazing because I got to see my family, my parents, my sister, her kids, her husband, um, and explored a lot of the bouldering around the Hope area. I did go up to Squamish and see friends and climb there a bit, but my sister has a small property with a trailer on it really near Hope, and so I discovered a number of new bouldering areas and problems, all very near there. So I had a wonderful summer. Not so much trying projects obsessively, so the Tilla roof project took me 37 sessions. In Spain, I probably put in a good 20 or 25 in La Resistance and didn't send it. So I kind of took it down a notch or two and just climbed a lot of days, and had an amazing summer seeing friends and family and just climbing a little more volume.
Yippa!
Kind of a funny story to tell about when I was in Canada visiting my sister and her kids. That property where she has her trailer. I guess my nephew had been bragging about how his uncle, the rock climber, was going to come visit. So when I first arrived at the property, this little kid rolls up to me on his BMX bike, and he goes, "Hey, are you Patrick?" Little 5-year-old with curly hair. I was like, "Yeah, I'm Patrick." He's like, "Cool, I'm Liam. I'm going climbing with you." And then I did end up finding a little boulder and taking all the kids from the kind of complex area around there climbing, trying to mantle this little 1 meter high boulder. But they had a fun time and went home to their parents bragging how they went climbing with Dion's uncle. So that was funny, but then even funnier, the next morning I was leaving to go bouldering, and I'm driving 5 kilometers an hour kind of the area because there's lots of kids around, but it's pretty early, so it's quiet. And Liam cruises up to me again on his BMX bike over by the driver's side window. So I roll down the window, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Liam?" And Liam's like, "Hey, cool, we climbing again today?" I was like, "Well, I'm driving a bit further. I'm going out bouldering kind of around Hope on some bigger boulders." And he was like, "Okay, cool. Maybe I'll catch you later." I just looked at him and I say, "Yeah, cool. Maybe we'll night sesh." I then left Canada, and I store my other van. I have a van that I live in when I'm doing field work and up in Canada, and I store that at my colleague's place in Utah, in Zach's driveway. So I had to drive from British Columbia to Utah, and on the way there I stopped at Castle Rocks and City of Rocks, which are areas that are much more known for sport climbing than bouldering, but there's some really amazing bouldering, including a massive roof that's a little bit well known because there's a problem in there that Daniel Woods put up called Warpath. But anyway, I spent a few days there. It was uncharacteristically cool for the season, for September. So I was able to try things in the morning and night fairly nicely, and spent a couple days there. It's a really amazing area that I love to hang out. Kind of an underrated, off the radar area for bouldering in the U.S.
told her how I felt, but I got no answer back. A lonesome bird did sing its song. It couldn't suit me better right now. I saw a ghost of my own life walking past me, holding your smile. I knew that smile from long ago, before I lied and she let me go. And I'm just lower than low, I'm lower than low, and I'm just sad as the light.
I then came back from North America and back to Europe. And in another story that I'll share another time, I was in the process of adopting a dog. And so I went back to Alkany where I was going to do that. The priority wasn't really to try La Resistance, which I had tried the whole previous winter and had been falling at the end on this kind of wide move to a pretty decent crimp, but still kind of a small crimp that you have to hit with 3 fingers. Probably kind of close the crimp really when you're trying it from the beginning. But I thought, I'm there, I might as well try it. And immediately the first day felt kind of stronger on it.
My dreams dance with my demons. Devil wanted to fight. Cool sweat on my forehead. Law hot on my tail. I sing to them badlands and them boys stick to the trail. Undone me been a killing. Ain't all cut and dry. Sometimes it takes a set gun, beat a suit and tie. Progress comes a knocking, knock back on its men. They lay to rest so many more with paper and a pen. Then when it happens at midnight, and darkness gathers round. If I make it till daylight, I'll put 'em in the ground.
Good boy. Get it, Friday. Get it, Rex. So that was a real treat, sending La Resistance months later after being away from it. And I then went back to France, climbed in an area called Visec for a while, which Olivier has pretty much developed on his own a little bit. Luke and friend or other mutual friends have been putting up some things there. And at that point, I'd always wanted to do a problem in the Attila cave that climbs into the same exit as the first video I showed, Moonstruck, but has a much harder start. So there's kind of a short, powerful V10 or 7C plus there called Super Tanker. And then you can kind of continue that into a 7B or so problem to get kind of an 8A. And if you go all the way out the very end, the 7B plus end, you probably get looking at an 8A plus. So realistically, I arrived kind of late in the fall, too late to really lay siege to the 8A plus version. So I set to work to seeing if I could do Super Tanker, the kind of short V10 at the beginning, and maybe link it into the 7B, which is called Future Tanker. And so the next project that kind of came along was back in the Attila cave, trying Future Tanker. So as we near the end of the video here, I wanted to remind people of where we started from. So beginning of 2020, I was not in the best place and suffered a bad knee injury. And I don't want to overly sensationalize it, but I'm hoping the journey and the path to recovery and getting fit again will at least provide some kind of psych or inspiration to some people. So just a little reminder of where we started and going now into the tail end of the video. Thanks.
Oh no.
And our journey ends for this video in the department of Tarn in France, where through a mutual friend of Olivier's, I was shown this amazing, massive roof, the Grotte de la Calme. Just humongous limestone roof with the potential for 100 move problems. It's just ginormous. And I tried a few different things and ended up kind of settling on a project which I'm referring to as the Tarn Wheel of Life. It's just a very, very long problem, and there'll be 3 video clips that follow here. The first 2 essentially climb from one jug to match on another jug, and that's probably in the range of 8A plus or V12. And then starting matched on that jug is an established V9 or 7C, which the third video shows. So you kind of have, if I could link the first 2 videos, you get something in the range of 8A plus. And then if you continue out and do the 7C from the third video, who knows, it's a project. But something harder than I've ever climbed. It's a long-term project, and hopefully a future video will kind of show. I'm not totally disappointed with the links that are in these videos, but hopefully a future project will show better links. So thanks for bearing with me. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Got some psych or inspiration from it. And certainly I'm ending the video in this story in a better place than I started it. Alright, thanks for listening and watching, guys. So these are the 3 clips of the Tarn Wheel of Life project. And you'll see it's this amazing climbing, primarily on solid cramps and pinches all through the roof. There's only 2 jugs. Despite the length of the problem, there's only 2 jugs, and that's the first kind of 8A plus section that I mentioned, and it continues in the 3rd clip into the 7C V9. Really interesting climbing, because with the holds, they're all decent good, but you do have to find body positions and foot positions, which are taking some weight off your hands, and obviously it's very long. So really kind of complex, fascinating, interesting climbing, but very, very powerful as well. So I'm biased, but just love this series of moves.
I couldn't bear to look him in the eye. He always said I'd make it out of here just fine. Your brown-eyed stare drives a man insane. I wanna hold you close and take away your pain. I walked the streets till dawn that time, when I should have fought harder, should have made you mine. Ride the whirlwind, reap it too. Turn your lovers 50 shades of gamble on another's life. In the name of lost and wasted time. That game, cheap jug. Man in the mirror ain't a friend of mine.
It's the way that we love across
want your bad moves. I want your bad moves again. I wanna feel it crawling under my skin. Ain't you lonesome?